Assata Shakur, a name whispered in hushed tones, etched in history as both a revolutionary and a fugitive. Born Joanne Chesimard, her life story reads like a Hollywood thriller, filled with political activism, harrowing escapes, and a lifelong fight for justice. But behind the headlines, beyond the FBI's most wanted list, lies a woman whose journey reflects the tumultuous struggle for Black liberation in America. This is the untold story of Assata Shakur. From her humble beginnings in Queens, New York, to her transformation into a symbol of resistance, Shakur's life embodies the spirit of a generation that dared to challenge the status quo. It's a story of resilience, of unwavering commitment to a cause, and the steep price one woman paid in the pursuit of freedom. This is not just a biography, it's a testament to the indomitable human spirit. It's a journey through the heart of the Black Power movement, a movement that shook the very foundations of America, demanding equality and justice for all. Through Shakur's eyes, we witness the fire, the passion, and the unwavering belief in a better tomorrow that fueled an entire generation. Joanne Chesimard, the name given to her at birth, would eventually fade into the background, replaced by a name that resonated with power and purpose: Assata Shakur. This transformation, from a young woman navigating the complexities of her identity to a revolutionary embracing her African heritage, is central to understanding Shakur's journey. Growing up in a racially charged America, Shakur experienced firsthand the sting of inequality. She witnessed the systematic disenfranchisement of her community, the subtle and overt racism that permeated every aspect of life. This early exposure to injustice ignited a fire within her, a burning desire to fight for a better world.
Her education became a tool for resistance. At Borough of Manhattan Community College and later at City College of New York, she found her voice participating in protests, sit-ins, and engaging in political activism. It was here that Joanne Chesimard began to shed the skin of her given name, embracing her African roots and adopting the name Assata Shakur. This transformation was more than just a name change. It was a declaration of self-determination, a rejection of the labels imposed upon her by a society that sought to confine her. It was the emergence of Assata Shakur, the revolutionary, the fighter, the woman who would dedicate her life to the pursuit of liberation.
Assata Shakur's early life was a tapestry woven with threads of love, hardship, and an unyielding spirit. Born in the vibrant borough of Queens, New York, she experienced both the warmth of family and the harsh realities of a society grappling with racial inequality. Her childhood was a crucible, forging within her a resilience that would define her life's journey. Shakur's family, like many others, faced financial struggles. These difficulties, coupled with the complexities of family dynamics, led to periods of instability during her formative years. The frequent moves, the constant adjustments, instilled in her a sense of resourcefulness, an ability to adapt and navigate challenging situations.
Despite the challenges, there were beacons of love and support. Her grandparents, residing in the South, provided a haven of warmth and stability. These visits became cherished respites, offering a sense of belonging and grounding amidst the turbulence of her young life. It was within the embrace of family that the seeds of empathy and compassion were sown, shaping Shakur's worldview and igniting a passion for justice. One of the most influential figures in her early life was her aunt, Evelyn A. Williams. A dedicated civil rights worker residing in Manhattan, Williams became a guiding light for young Shakur. Recognizing her niece's inquisitive nature and thirst for knowledge, Williams took her under her wing, exposing her to a world beyond the confines of their neighborhood.
Education became a transformative force in Assata Shakur's life, opening her eyes to the injustices faced by her community and igniting a passion for social change. It was within the hallowed halls of learning that she began to question the narratives presented, to see the world through a critical lens, and to find her voice as an advocate for equality. Her formal education began in New York City, where she attended Parsons Junior High School. However, it was her time at Borough of Manhattan Community College and later at City College of New York that proved to be pivotal. The mid-1960s was a period of immense social and political upheaval, and college campuses across the nation became hotbeds of activism. Shakur, with her growing awareness of racial inequality and her innate sense of justice, found herself drawn to the movement. She immersed herself in political activities, attending rallies, participating in protests, and engaging in thought-provoking discussions with like-minded individuals. The more she learned about the systemic disenfranchisement faced by Black Americans, the more determined she became to challenge the status quo. Her education was no longer confined to textbooks and classrooms. It had spilled onto the streets, transforming her into a passionate advocate for social change. It was during this period that Shakur's activism extended beyond mere words. Her first arrest, a pivotal moment in her life, occurred during a protest at Borough of Manhattan Community College. Along with 100 fellow students, she participated in a demonstration against the lack of Black faculty and the absence of a Black Studies program. Their act of defiance, chaining and locking the entrance to a college building, resulted in charges of trespassing. This event, though seemingly minor in the grand scheme of things, served as a baptism by fire, solidifying Shakur's commitment to fighting for justice, even in the face of adversity. The journey from Joanne Chesimard to Assata Shakur was a profound transformation, a shedding of an identity imposed upon her and an embrace of her true self. It was a declaration of self-determination, a reclaiming of her African heritage, and a symbol of her unwavering commitment to the liberation of her people.
This metamorphosis was deeply personal, reflecting Shakur's growing awareness of her place in the struggle for Black freedom. The name Joanne Chesimard, a vestige of a colonial past, no longer resonated with her spirit. It carried with it the weight of a society that sought to define her based on her race, a society that had relegated her people to the margins.
In its place, she chose the name Assata Shakur. Assata, a West African name, resonated with her deeply. Derived from Aisha, it is said to mean she who struggles, a testament to her unwavering commitment to fighting for justice. Shakur, meaning thankful one in Arabic, reflected her profound gratitude for her ancestors and her heritage. And Olugbala, meaning savior in Yoruba, symbolized her dedication to the liberation of her people.
This transformation was not merely symbolic, it was a reflection of Shakur's evolving political consciousness. She delved into Black history, immersing herself in the works of revolutionaries and scholars who challenged the dominant narratives. She embraced her African identity, recognizing the strength and resilience of her ancestors who had endured centuries of oppression.
The mid-20th century was a tumultuous time for America, a nation grappling with its deeply ingrained racism and inequality. The Civil Rights Movement, a beacon of hope and a testament to the courage of countless individuals, was in full swing, challenging segregation and demanding equal rights for Black Americans.
It was within this crucible of social change that Assata Shakur's political consciousness blossomed, fueled by her own experiences and the collective struggle for liberation. College campuses, traditionally havens for intellectual discourse, became breeding grounds for activism. Students, inspired by the likes of Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., and countless others, organized protests, sit-ins, and teach-ins, demanding change and challenging the status quo.
Shakur, deeply affected by the pervasive racism she had witnessed throughout her life, found herself drawn to these movements, her voice joining the chorus demanding justice. The energy was palpable. There was a sense that change was not just possible, but inevitable.
Shakur, with her sharp intellect and growing awareness of systemic inequality, found herself at the forefront of this movement, organizing protests, participating in debates, and challenging her peers to confront the realities of racism. Her involvement in the student protests at BMCC, which led to her first arrest, was a turning point. It solidified her commitment to fighting for justice and revealed her willingness to put herself on the line for her beliefs. She refused to be a passive observer. She would be an active participant in the struggle for liberation.
The Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, often referred to simply as the Black Panther Party, emerged as a powerful force in the fight for Black liberation. Founded on principles of self-determination, armed resistance, and community empowerment, the Panthers presented a radical challenge to the status quo. Their iconic image, black berets worn with a defiant pride, became synonymous with the struggle for black power.
Shakur, drawn to the Panthers' unwavering commitment to social justice and their dedication to community upliftment, found herself aligning with their ideology. She was particularly inspired by their 10-point program, a document that outlined their goals for Black liberation, including demands for self-determination, decent housing, full employment, and an end to police brutality.
She joined the party's ranks, eager to contribute to their efforts and to be a part of a movement that resonated with her own beliefs. Her intelligence, charisma, and unwavering dedication to the cause quickly earned her the respect of her comrades. She rose through the ranks, eventually leading the Black Panther Party chapter in Harlem.
Under her leadership, the Harlem chapter flourished. She coordinated the free breakfast program for children, ensuring that underprivileged youth received a nutritious meal before school. She helped establish free health clinics, providing essential medical care to underserved communities. And she tirelessly organized community outreach programs, educating residents about their rights and empowering them to challenge injustice.
Despite her dedication to the Black Panther Party and her success in leading the Harlem chapter, Shakur began to question certain aspects of the organization's direction. Internal conflicts, often exacerbated by government infiltration and surveillance programs like COINTELPRO, created tensions within the party.
She felt a growing disconnect with the leadership's strategic decisions and yearned for a more radical approach to achieving liberation. My commitment to revolutionary change, my belief in the necessity of armed struggle to dismantle systemic oppression, led me to seek out like-minded individuals who shared my vision.
It was during this period of introspection and reevaluation that she crossed paths with members of the Black Liberation Army, or BLA. The BLA, a loosely organized offshoot of the Black Panther Party, advocated for armed resistance against the U.S. government, believing that true liberation could only be achieved through direct confrontation with the forces of oppression.
The BLA's ideology resonated deeply with my own evolving beliefs. I saw in them a reflection of my own commitment to revolutionary change, a willingness to fight for freedom by any means necessary. Their dedication to armed struggle, their belief in the power of direct action to dismantle oppressive systems, aligned with my own experiences and my understanding of the realities of racial injustice in America.
This shift from the Black Panther Party to the Black Liberation Army marked a pivotal turning point in Shakur's life, setting in motion a chain of events that would forever alter the course of her journey. It was a decision driven by her unwavering commitment to Black liberation, a commitment that would lead her down a path fraught with danger, sacrifice, and ultimately, exile. The Black Liberation Army was not a monolith, but a decentralized network of individuals bound by a shared commitment to armed struggle against racial oppression. Unlike the Black Panther Party, which sought to build community institutions alongside its revolutionary rhetoric, the BLA focused almost exclusively on clandestine operations aimed at disrupting and dismantling the systems they believed perpetuated Black subjugation.
For me, the BLA's approach resonated with my growing sense of urgency. The slow pace of reform, the constant setbacks in the fight for civil rights, and the brutal reality of police brutality fueled my belief that more radical action was necessary. The time for speeches and marches, I felt, was over. The only language the oppressor understood, I reasoned, was that of force.
The decision to join the BLA was not taken lightly. Shakur understood the risks involved, the constant threat of arrest, imprisonment, or even death. Yet, she was undeterred. The fight for liberation, she believed, demanded sacrifice. Her life, in her mind, was a small price to pay for the possibility of a more just and equitable future for her people.
The BLA operated in the shadows, a clandestine network of cells spread across the United States. Our tactics were often daring, even reckless, targeting symbols of state power, banks, and individuals we deemed complicit in the oppression of Black people. Our actions, while condemned by the mainstream media and law enforcement agencies, resonated with some segments of the Black community, particularly those who had grown disillusioned with the slow pace of change.
The Black Liberation Army's tactics mirrored those of other revolutionary movements around the world, engaging in what they termed urban guerrilla warfare. Their operations, often planned and executed with meticulous detail, were designed to strike fear into the heart of the establishment while inspiring others to join their fight.
Bank robberies, often portrayed as acts of criminality by law enforcement, were viewed by the BLA as a means of expropriating funds from institutions we considered complicit in the economic exploitation of Black communities. These funds, we argued, were then redirected towards supporting our operations and providing resources to those in need.
Targeted assassinations of police officers and suspected informants were among the BLA's most controversial tactics. These actions, often carried out in retaliation for instances of police brutality or perceived betrayal, were justified by the group as acts of self-defense against a system they believed waged a constant war on Black people.
The BLA's operations, while often shrouded in secrecy, were part of a broader strategy to expose the vulnerabilities of the state and to demonstrate our capacity for resistance. Our actions, we hoped, would inspire a mass uprising against racial oppression, leading to the overthrow of what we considered a fundamentally racist and oppressive system.
However, the BLA's decentralized structure and reliance on clandestine operations made them difficult to combat. Law enforcement agencies, often infiltrated by informants and hampered by their own biases, struggled to contain the group's activities. The BLA, despite its relatively small numbers, had become a thorn in the side of the establishment, a constant reminder of the simmering anger and frustration within Black communities across the nation.
Life on the run as a member of the Black Liberation Army was fraught with danger and uncertainty. The constant threat of arrest, the need for secrecy, and the knowledge that our actions could have deadly consequences weighed heavily on those who chose this path.
Assata Shakur, despite the risks, embraced her role in the movement. She participated in various BLA operations, her intelligence and tactical acumen making her a valuable asset to the group. Her commitment to the cause intensified, fueled by her belief that their struggle was part of a larger global fight against colonialism and oppression.
The authorities, frustrated by their inability to quash the BLA, responded with increasing force. The FBI, under the direction of J. Edgar Hoover, launched a concerted effort to neutralize the group, employing tactics that often bordered on illegal.
COINTELPRO, a program initially designed to disrupt the activities of the Communist Party, was repurposed to target Black activist groups, including the BLA. The FBI infiltrated the BLA, spreading disinformation, instigating violence, and framing members for crimes they did not commit. The goal was not just to arrest individuals, but to discredit the entire movement, to paint them as criminals and terrorists in the eyes of the public.
The constant pressure from law enforcement, coupled with internal conflicts and the ever-present threat of betrayal, took its toll on the BLA. By the mid-1970s, the group was weakened, its ranks depleted by arrests, deaths, and disillusionment. Yet, despite the setbacks, the spirit of resistance that fueled the BLA lived on, inspiring future generations of activists and reminding the world that the fight for Black liberation was far from over.
The New Jersey Turnpike, a ribbon of asphalt slicing through the darkness, became the stage for an event that would forever alter the course of Assata Shakur's life. It was a night like many others, a symphony of rumbling engines and flashing headlights. But for Shakur and her companions, it marked a point of no return, a collision course with destiny.
The details of that night remain shrouded in controversy, a tapestry woven from conflicting accounts, official narratives, and the enduring mysteries that often surround such pivotal events. What is known is that Shakur, along with BLA members Sundiata Acoli and Zaid Malik Shakur, were traveling north on the turnpike when they were stopped by two New Jersey state troopers, Werner Forrester and James Harper.
The reason for the initial stop remains a point of contention. Some accounts suggest a broken tail light, a minor infraction that escalated with terrifying speed. Others claim that we, acting on intelligence provided by the FBI, were specifically searching for Shakur and her companions. Whatever the reason, the encounter quickly spiraled out of control.
The air crackled with tension, the darkness punctuated by the blinding glare of headlights and the chilling glint of drawn weapons. In the blink of an eye, the routine traffic stop transformed into a scene of unimaginable violence. The deafening roar of gunfire shattered the night, echoing across the desolate stretch of highway. Bullets tore through metal and flesh, each shot a testament to the chaos and terror that had gripped those present. When the smoke cleared and the deafening silence descended, the asphalt was stained with blood, a grim tableau marking a night that would forever haunt those who survived it.
The details of the shootout remained fiercely contested, a tangled web of conflicting accounts and accusations. What is undisputed is that State Trooper Werner Förster and Zaid Malik Shakur lay dead, their bodies riddled with bullets. State Trooper James Harper, wounded but alive, would later testify against Shakur, his account shaping the narrative that would dominate the headlines.
Shakur, herself shot in the shoulder, was apprehended at the scene. The image of her lying on a stretcher, her face contorted in pain and defiance, became a symbol of the incident, a lightning rod for both outrage and admiration. She was immediately labeled a cop killer, her name splashed across newspapers nationwide, her case becoming a flashpoint in the already heated debate over race, justice, and the use of violence in the pursuit of social change.
The shootout on the New Jersey Turnpike sent shockwaves across the nation. It was a stark reminder of the deep divisions within American society, the simmering racial tensions, and the growing mistrust between law enforcement and communities of color. The incident became a Rorschach test, with different factions interpreting the events through the prism of their own ideologies and prejudices.
Section 3. A Nation Divided. The Trial and Conviction of Assata Shakur. The trial of Assata Shakur was more than just a legal proceeding. It was a media spectacle, a public referendum on the Black Power movement, and a lightning rod for the deep-seated racial tensions that permeated American society. The courtroom became a battleground where competing narratives clashed, each side vying to control the narrative surrounding the shootout on the New Jersey Turnpike.
Facing charges of murder, attempted murder, and armed robbery, I maintained my innocence throughout the trial. I argued that I had been the victim of a police ambush, that I had been shot while unarmed, and that I had been denied my constitutional rights.
Her supporters, rallying to her defense, pointed to inconsistencies in the prosecution's case, alleging police misconduct, evidence tampering, and a concerted effort to frame a political activist. The prosecution, however, presented a very different version of events.
They argued that, driven by a radical ideology and a hatred for law enforcement, I had deliberately participated in the shootout, firing the fatal shots that killed Trooper Forster. They painted me as a dangerous revolutionary, a threat to society who deserved the full weight of the law.
The jury, after weeks of testimony and deliberations, reached a verdict guilty on all counts. Shakur was sentenced to life in prison, her fate seemingly sealed. The verdict sparked outrage among her supporters, who viewed it as a miscarriage of justice, a reflection of the systemic racism they believed permeated the criminal justice system. The trial and conviction of Assata Shakur did little to heal the divisions within American society. If anything, it exacerbated them, solidifying the beliefs of both her detractors and her supporters. Shakur, once a revolutionary fighting for a better tomorrow, had become a symbol of the enduring struggle for racial justice in America, her story a stark reminder of the human cost of this ongoing battle. Section 1. Behind Bars. A Spirit Unbroken. The heavy steel doors clanged shut, echoing the finality of Assata Shakur's fate. Sentenced to life in prison, she was now just a number, stripped of her name, her voice, her freedom. The world outside, with its vibrant colors and cacophony of life, faded into a distant memory, replaced by the cold, sterile reality of confinement. Yet even within the unforgiving walls of prison, Shakur's spirit refused to be broken.
I was transferred from one facility to another, each move a stark reminder of my status as a political prisoner, a threat to the state. Solitary confinement became my new reality, a cruel attempt to isolate me, to break my will, to silence my voice. The days bled into weeks, the weeks into months, each one an agonizing test of my resilience.
But Shakur refused to surrender to despair. She drew strength from her ancestors, from the countless others who had endured the horrors of captivity. She devoured books, her mind becoming a sanctuary, a place where the bars couldn't reach. She wrote poetry, her words a weapon against despair, a testament to the indomitable human spirit. She formed bonds with other incarcerated women, finding solace in their shared experiences, their resilience in the face of adversity.
We laughed together, cried together, shared stories of our lives outside, clinging to the hope of a future beyond the bars. Despite my own struggles, I became a source of strength for my fellow prisoners, my spirit and inspiration, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope could endure.
Section 2. A Mother's Love, a Prisoner's Resolve. Even within the confines of prison, life, with its relentless cycle of joy and sorrow, found a way. Assata Shakur, already grappling with the weight of her sentence, faced a new challenge, a test of her strength and resilience that transcended the physical limitations of her confinement. She was pregnant, carrying a life within her womb, a beacon of hope amidst the despair. The news of her pregnancy sent ripples through the prison, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit, a reminder that even in the most oppressive environments, life found a way to flourish.
My fellow prisoners rallied around me, offering support, sharing their meager possessions, and showering me with love.
The birth of her daughter Kakuya was a bittersweet moment, a joyous occasion tinged with the sorrow of their separation. Holding her newborn child in her arms, Shakur vowed to fight for her freedom, not just for herself, but for the future of her child, a future where they could be together, free from the shackles of injustice. Motherhood fueled Shakur's determination.
I refused to allow my daughter to grow up within the shadow of prison walls, to be defined by the label of inmate's child. I became even more vocal in my denunciation of the conditions within the prison, demanding better treatment for myself and my fellow prisoners, particularly mothers who were separated from their children.
Her case became a rallying cry for activists and human rights organizations who denounced her treatment as inhumane and called for her release. Shakur, the political prisoner, the convicted revolutionary, had become a symbol of the plight of incarcerated women. Her story a reminder of the human cost of mass incarceration.
The desire for freedom burned bright within me, an unquenchable flame fueled by the love for my daughter and the unwavering belief in my own innocence.
Every clang of the cell door, every barbed wire fence, every watchful eye of the guards only strengthened her resolve. She knew she couldn't spend the rest of her life confined within those walls.
I had to escape for myself, for my daughter, for the future I dared to dream of.
The plan was audacious, a testament to the unwavering loyalty of Shakur's supporters and the lengths they were willing to go to secure her freedom. It involved a carefully orchestrated symphony of timing, courage, and unwavering belief.
On a cold November night, as the wind howled outside and the prison slept under the watchful gaze of the guards, history was about to be made.
A group of BLA members, their faces hidden in the shadows, infiltrated the prison. Their movements were precise, their determination fueled by years of planning and the unshakable belief in Shakur's innocence.
They came not with violence in their hearts, but with the unwavering commitment to righting what they perceived as a grave injustice.
With a combination of cunning and daring, they overpowered the guards, their weapons remaining silent, their actions a testament to the meticulous planning that had gone into this operation. They whisked Shakur away from her cell, her heart pounding in her chest, a mix of fear and exhilaration coursing through her veins.
I was free, at least for now, but I knew the fight was far from over.
The escape of Assata Shakur sent shockwaves through the American justice system, exposing the vulnerabilities of a system grappling with its own contradictions. It was a victory for her supporters, a testament to the enduring power of hope and resilience. For her detractors, it was a slap in the face, a reminder that even the most secure prisons could be breached, that the long arm of the law could be evaded.
The escape from prison marked the beginning of a new chapter in my life, one defined by exile, uncertainty, and the constant threat of recapture.
She had tasted freedom, but it was a fragile thing, a flickering flame in the winds of a global manhunt. The United States government, determined to bring her to justice, spared no expense in their pursuit, her face plastered on wanted posters, her name echoing across international borders.
For years, I lived a life shrouded in secrecy, moving from one safe house to another, relying on the kindness of strangers and the unwavering support of a global network of sympathizers who believed in my innocence.
The details of her journey remain largely unknown, a testament to the effectiveness of the underground network that shielded her from the prying eyes of law enforcement agencies determined to capture her.
Finally, in 1984, I found sanctuary in Cuba, a nation that had long positioned itself as a haven for revolutionaries and those seeking refuge from political persecution.
Fidel Castro, the country's charismatic leader, welcomed her with open arms, granting her political asylum and offering her protection from the long reach of the United States government.
In Cuba, I was able to rebuild my life, albeit under the constant shadow of my past. I embraced the opportunity to raise my daughter in a society free from the overt racism and systemic inequality I had witnessed in the United States.
She became a voice for the Cuban people, working on radio and writing projects that highlighted their struggles and triumphs. Despite her physical absence from the United States, Assata Shakur's presence loomed large. Her name whispered in hushed tones, her image emblazoned on murals and protest signs. She had become an icon, a symbol of resistance against oppression, her story resonating with a new generation grappling with the enduring legacy of racism and inequality.
For some, I was a dangerous fugitive, a convicted cop killer who had evaded justice. My name was invoked as a cautionary tale, a reminder of the chaos and violence associated with radical political movements.
Her image was used to justify the expansion of law enforcement powers, the erosion of civil liberties, and the demonization of dissent.
For others, particularly within marginalized communities, I was a hero, a freedom fighter who had dared to challenge the status quo. My story resonated with those who felt marginalized, disenfranchised, and brutalized by a system they believed was rigged against them.
She represented hope, a beacon of defiance in the face of overwhelming odds. Her writings, smuggled out of Cuba and disseminated through underground networks, became required reading for a new generation of activists. Her words, filled with passion, anger, and an unwavering belief in the power of the people to overcome oppression, ignited a fire in the hearts of those yearning for change. Assata Shakur's story is far from over. She remains in Cuba to this day, a living testament to the enduring legacy of the Black Power movement and the complexities of the struggle for racial justice. Her case continues to spark debate, her name a rallying cry for both her supporters and her detractors. The United States government has never wavered in its pursuit of Shakur, offering a multi-million-dollar reward for information leading to her capture and return. She remains on the FBI's most wanted terrorists list, a designation that speaks volumes about the enduring power of her image and the threat she still represents to those in power. Yet, despite the efforts to silence her, Shakur's voice continues to resonate. Her story has been told and retold through books, documentaries, and countless works of art. Her words, once confined to smuggled letters and underground publications, now reach a global audience, amplified by the power of the internet and social media. The passage of time has done little to diminish the power of Shakur's story. If anything, her legacy has only grown more potent, fueled by the ongoing struggle for racial justice and the realization that the issues she fought against remain as relevant today as they were decades ago. Her story is a reminder that the fight for freedom is a marathon, not a sprint, and that the pursuit of justice requires unwavering commitment, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds.